Hi,
Hi,
Ashby. Hey,
hi, Wendy. How are you?
how are you?
Good, good. Still in Clarion?
You're still in Clarion?
Yep.
Can't ever leave the place, can you?
No, I love this place.
That's good.
I'm from Baltimore, so Clarion was an upgrade.
Well, it's a little different, I
A
would
lot,
think.
a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
I think I liked it because it was the complete opposite.
yeah, that's good. So, what are you up to?
Right now, just working and my photography, and I'm getting heavily into videography now.
Yeah, I saw what you did for Empower Beauty. She's my neighbor,
Really?
Alyssa. Uh huh.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, she's
that was
awesome.
great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So what has the so during this pandemic, how it
Are
seems
you
like
recording? You are recording.
yeah, I am recording.
Sorry.
It seems like when everything shut down, you guys got kind of busier with decision making.
Oh
How
yeah.
did that go down when it first started?
Yeah. I think it hit us all. It was a huge surprise. While I think we could watch and see the writing on the wall, it was still really um, challenging at the forefront to and heartbreaking for our students to for them to lose their opportunity to compete. I was literally at the national championship for swimming and diving. We were a day and a half into the national championship, and I was at lunch with our two divers and our diving coach when we got the call that the championship was done. And I think my mind was blown a little bit of, but we're here, like we're here. And I knew our wrestlers were leaving the next week, and we had just gotten into our spring sports. And I came back to campus kind of in a fog of what is happening. So right at the beginning, it was fast and furious, the decision making to um, stop athletics as well as send our students home. Hindsight is always 50-50. It was absolutely the right decision. Um, as hard and heartbreaking as it was the right decision for the safety of our students and our staff and our community. But I probably would say through this whole thing, I'm a busy person. I've never been as busy with just meetings and planning and replanning and changing plans. And we joked that the word was pivoted so many different times in various ways and changed what we thought was the right direction. Just as the virus and the pandemic continued to evolve, we had to adapt as well. And so that's really kind of been our thought process as an athletic department this entire period is understanding flexibility and patience, with our students, with um, our staff, knowing we were going to have to adjust as we went along and learn. None of us have ever been through anything like this before. They don't prepare you for a pandemic, right? In any role that you're in. So there was a lot of learning. There's a lot of education. We're still learning now as things continue to change and we adapt and change with it. But it has been a really interesting time.
So when it comes to like the planning and the making decisions, how much of that is actually your choice versus like the people who are in charge of the PSAC and the MAC, I guess, including wrestling?
Well, for sure, the conference had the decision to stop athletics, right? That was a decision made by the presidents. So the conference office really isn't the decision-making body. Our presidents are, and so at least in the PSAC, that's how that works. Being an affiliate member of the MAC, we don't necessarily have a vote. So whatever happens in that conference, we follow, of course, being an affiliate member. But the presidents make those decisions. They do that on the guidance of the athletic directors and the conference office. We met probably at that point, we were meeting as athletic directors on at least a weekly basis. I also serve as a member of the executive board, so I was meeting additionally weekly with that small group of athletic directors to try to advise and make decisions and make recommendations for the rest of the ADs and the presidents to consider. So while that body definitely made that decision on stopping athletics, the athletic directors were heavily involved in and the athletic trainers were heavily involved in creating the policies that would guide us to safely bring our athletes back to campuses, should those campuses choose to have them return in the fall, which ours did, and I'm extremely thankful for. But you know, we were heavily involved in all of the recommendations that the presidents would consider.
Right. So bringing the athletes back was your choice. You wanted them back on campus.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, we felt that we could do it safely. We put great policies in place, we felt, for them to keep them as safe as possible. And our staff, we installed disinfecting machines all throughout Tippin, and had portable ones that we could take out to the stadium. And we were cleaning like we've never cleaned before. But because of all of those safety precautions that we put into place, we had a re-socialization process at the beginning, which was a 6-week kind of gating period for our teams to work their way back together safely. We felt we had a really, really good process in place. And for us, it was really important that we were able to provide our students and our staff with some kind of normal, right? This entire, since March, when this all really went down, everything has been so abnormal for so many people. And we saw our students struggling with their mental health because, you know, the thing that they rely on to escape from everything all of a sudden wasn't a part of their world anymore. And so we really wanted to bring them back safely, which we did. I'm extremely proud of our student athletes and our staff. Our positivity rates in our department were extraordinarily low. And which is, I feel, unheard of in college athletics, watching, you know, game day on Saturdays and ESPN, and listening to all these positive cases that are occurring at other college campuses in athletics in particular around the country. Our students and our staff did phenomenal in terms of taking it seriously, following the precautions that we put into place, and it allowed us to get safely through the fall, which I'm extremely proud of them, and it gets me hopeful for the spring and what we can do together. But yeah, we felt like they really needed that, you know, that time on the court, on the mats, in the pool, on the fields. That's their escape from school and the pressures of everyday life, and, you know, things that are going on in their worlds. It's their time away, and they needed that. So it was our way of giving them a little bit of normal in a very still abnormal world.
Good. I noticed that there's starting to be a little bit more hope for sports in the future. And like, I know the wrestlers just got out of quarantine, now they're in training.
Yep.
And then is swimming supposed to go on in the spring, or is it starting in January like wrestling?
Yeah, so you're right. Wrestling we welcomed them back right after Thanksgiving, and they'll stay here through the duration of the spring semester. And then we're going to have men's and women's basketball join us next week. And then the week of January 4th, swimming and diving will come back. And then we'll welcome all the other teams the week of move-in, that week before school starts. But, you know, as I said before, of being just extremely thankful, we have an administration and Dr. Dale and Dr. Fensky and the entire President's Executive Council who really believe and support our athletes and our student athletes in our athletic department. And they're giving us the opportunity for everyone to compete next spring. So while the conference, the PSAC, made the decision, obviously the MAC is moving forward, and we're competing with them because that conference made the decision for sports to compete. The PSAC, the board of directors for the PSAC, made the decision that fall and winter sports would not have championships, but our spring sports will. With the caveat that swimming and diving and cross country will have a championship. So those are the only winter and spring, or winter and fall sports, that will see a championship in the spring. But our administration has given us the opportunity, because of how well we did in the fall and what we showed them we can do and take everything seriously and the risk associated with the pandemic. They're giving us the opportunity for everyone to compete in the spring, which is great. So our coaches have been working fast and furious. We're building schedules, trying to find other institutions that will be following the same protocols as us in terms of competition. And they're building schedules so we should see almost everyone probably compete here in the spring in some form or fashion.
So, okay, so everybody will be competing, but not everybody's going to get a championship from the fall.
Correct. Yeah. Wrestling will have a championship, swimming and diving and cross country, and then our spring sports. So track and field, men's and women's golf, women's tennis, baseball, and softball.
So they'll more just like, so basketball will have like a scrimmage season sort of.
Yeah, but they'll be competing. I mean, it'll be legitimate competitions. There will be officials and, so it will be official competition. So I wouldn't necessarily classify it as a scrimmage. A lot of those institutions that we're going to be playing against, their conferences are still moving forward in competition. So those are opposing opposition will have championship opportunities. But so I actually just met with our men's and women's basketball coach yesterday for about an hour just to kind of talk through where they're at in scheduling, any issues that are coming up and those kind of things. But our coaches have been working really diligently. As soon as we gave them the go ahead to build a schedule, they've been working really hard at that.
Good. I'm glad they can compete because that's really what athletes look forward to.
Absolutely. Yeah. We saw it this fall. While we were extremely thankful for practice and had really good perspective from institutions that weren't practicing, because we were one of the few in the PSAC that were actually having practice opportunities for our student athletes. Those institutions gave us a really good perspective because we were really starting to feel the struggle that we wanted to compete. We were here, we were practicing, we were ready to play against somebody else. And those institutions gave us a really good perspective of, at least you're practicing, right? Our students aren't doing anything. So that was the other piece, to shut down everything in March. That's a really long time frame for our student athletes to not be physically active in their sport. And that was another big rationale as to why we wanted to bring them back.
That's good. Yeah, because I have friends who were like practicing, but they just wanted like a little bit of hope to know that there'd be a competing season.
Absolutely.
So they can be working towards something because that goal is very important.
Right, definitely.
Yeah, I did start working with like the volleyball team and the soccer teams when we first got back this semester. I started taking pictures. They were so excited, and I was bummed to not see. The volleyball team is so exciting to see compete.
They are fun to watch. Yeah, they're fun to watch.
Are they, are they just canceled until next fall?
Nope, they're going to compete. They're working on a schedule that probably will start sometime in March and end probably middle of April. That seems to be when the PSAC made the decision to not have fall and winter championships other than cross country and swimming and diving. It gave us the ability to be a little bit more flexible when our teams were going to be competing, so that we could really look at a 6-month time frame and kind of spread things out a little bit more, especially for athletic training coverage. To have, it was a daunting task to have all of our programs competing in a 6-month time frame. It's a challenge. So what we ended up doing was pushing volleyball back a little bit, so that basketball should be winding up when they're starting up. Wrestling should be winding up when they're starting up. So it frees up the space in the gym a little bit more. It spreads out athletic training coverage a little bit more. So they're probably looking to start competing here sometime in March. And like I said, middle of April. And Coach Heron's doing a really nice job of building a schedule for them.
So when it comes to scheduling, are you only having like one team in Tippin at a time? Is it difficult to get them to work with each other's schedule?
No, I mean, we have such a great staff. They work so very well together. They did before the pandemic and even more so after it and during it. I guess we're not even after the pandemic yet. We're still in it. They work really, really well together when it comes to scheduling of facilities. And Joe Lopez, who's our events and facilities coordinator, he's been instrumental in the process of identifying maybe potential conflicts and working with those coaches to work through those conflicts. But because of the sanitation system that we have, it allows us to turn over our spaces a little bit quicker because it's a pretty quick sanitation process that's really effective. Also, having those portable backpack sprayers, the coaches are able to spray down equipment a lot quicker. And again, it just helps us kind of flow those teams in and out. And our custodian staff has been unbelievable. So Joe worked really closely with them to develop a schedule so they know what needs cleaned at what time. So especially during that gating process, that 6 week where really that looked at smaller groups, being kind of potted together, and we slowly worked our way into full team. So the cleaning of locker rooms in between those teams was pretty intensive in their spaces, but the janitorial staff, the custodian staff did incredible work with that. And we're so thankful for the team that we have in Tippin there too. It truly was a village to get us through the fall. It took a lot of people, a lot of moving parts, a lot of understanding and patience, but we did it really, really well. So like I said, it leads us to think and believe that we can do really well again in the spring.
Right. So a lot of parents and stuff obviously want a lot of information. Have you guys looked into more like your activity on social media? And as the athletes start coming back, do you guys have plans to update the parents over social media what's going on?
Yeah, we'll keep them updated. Obviously, we've got to work through the governor's requirements right now. Those are really, while his requirements aren't limiting what college athletics can do, it's limiting our ability for capacity in our facilities. So we're hopeful that once we get through the holiday season and into January and closer to when our teams would start competing, that maybe those restrictions will loosen a little bit, so that we can hopefully provide more spectators at our competitions. But we're working through that right now, and we'll keep everybody up to date for sure. Fortunately, we've got, our state of art facility, and we've got awesome opportunities for web streaming. So and we actually purchased new equipment this fall so we can web stream swimming and diving. So we should be able to still be able to web stream everything, but hopefully things will look a little bit brighter here in January.
I noticed that the cutouts you guys are doing got a lot of traction. People really like it.
Yeah, we're excited for that. I mean, you're seeing it everywhere. And so Chris Anderson, who's our director of athletic giving, he brought the concept to us, and I'm like, absolutely. I'm even joking with them that I feel like we need my cutout and it like a Where's Wendy competition then you got whoever the first person is to find my cutout in the stands wins or something. I don't know, but it's a great idea. It's a great fundraiser for our programs. And it's a way to just show some support to the students, who are competing, that, a lot of people still very much care about them and want their success.
Right. Any any plans moving forward with is are the athletes' schedules out? Like they're actually competition schedules? Are they out?
I don't think our schedules are up yet. The coaches are still working on them. This has probably been the hardest year for them when it comes to scheduling. Typically, in a normal year, our conferences give us our schedule, and then we just fill in a couple. Now that they're building their own schedules, there are other institutions that haven't necessarily made the same decisions as us. We're a little bit ahead of the game, especially in the PSAC, in terms of wanting to compete. So our coaches they're going outside the conference, looking at non-conference competition, but with other conferences competing and ours not, they are finding a little bit of difficulty in getting teams to commit, but they'll be they're working on finalizing everything. So as soon as they are, it'll get up on the website by team. But yeah, still working on that. And as we said, it's going to change 50 million times. Right. So as everything has since March, we just, again, patience and understanding and, flexibility. So the spring's going to be the same mentality.
That all seems so hard. How do you keep your positivity through all of this?
I guess I'm an optimistic person. I've always been that way. I'm hopeful. It's just my nature. You can easily get lost in the negativity and the frustration. And to be very transparent and honest, there were moments that it was hard. But I have a really good team around me, DJ Bevavino and Tina Finch and Sean Fagan and Jim Thornton. And so there were a lot of phone calls to those folks to just kind of talk me off the ledge a little bit. But I'm hopeful for our students. And so I've got to stay positive. I want to see them compete so very badly. I can't wait until we have our first competition. I'll probably cry because I'm an emotional person. I'll be, just the relief of getting them to that point where they're going to be able to do what they love. So in my opinion, there's no reason to be negative. You've got, it doesn't accomplish anything, and it makes those around you feel worse. So we have to stay positive and optimistic and hope for the best.
Right. So other than COVID, so what do you love about being the athletic director of Clarion Athletics?
Oh my gosh. I just love the interaction with the students, and just seeing their success. I mean, they are the reason we do what we do. They're the only reason we're here. So for them to be successful and to just celebrate in that success with them is just so fun. And watching them compete is just the icing on the cake. I mean, that's the best part of the job, is the competitions and watching them compete. But, just celebrating them, their academic success, their involvement in the community. Like, they're such well-rounded student athletes, and I'm super proud that they are Golden Eagles for us. Our coaches doing a phenomenal job of mentoring them and helping them through struggles. We kind of build this little bubble around them of support, which is great. And that's why they're so successful, because of the support system that athletics gives them. But I mean, I enjoy my job. I love it very, very much. I feel fortunate I've been in it for 16 years now. Every day is a challenge. Every day is different, which I really like. I don't think I could do a monotonous job where it's the same thing every single day. You never know what phone call is going to come. I used to say who would walk through my door with whatever issue. Now it's whoever Zooms me with whatever issue. The days fly by so fast. I have so much fun with our staff. We laugh a lot. We get along really well. We've got good relationships, so we can joke with one another, which is really good. So that makes coming to work a lot easier too. But yeah, it's just, we work, all so well together. The student athlete success, and I love Clarion. You mentioned it. You love Clarion, right? So do I. This community is great. This campus is great. This, everybody we work with is fantastic. So I love Clarion just as much.
The talent makes it so much better too. It's not even just the university.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Did you see yourself doing this ever since you were younger, like high school and through college?
No, not at all. That's the crazy thing. Like, I was an athlete all through my life. I swam in college. I was really close to my athletic director in college, and never once did the idea of being an athletic director cross my mind. I think at the time, though, like, sports management wasn't a major when I was going to school. So I think that's possibly why I never really considered it. But I got a really great opportunity at Cal U. They brought me on to help assist with, they were starting a women's swimming team. And so I got an opportunity to be a graduate assistant. I actually worked in their advancement office for fundraising for athletics, as well as helping kind of get that swim team off the ground. And then at the same time, their associate AD, who is now their AD, Karen Herpy, she's Dr. Herpy, she's one of my mentors. She was going on maternity leave. And so they trained me to take over for her for 6 weeks. And I was just bitten by the bug. Loved athletic administration, knew that that's what I wanted to do. Like, I'm so thankful for that opportunity, because had I not had it, I'd be teaching. That's what I was, I went back to get my master's degree in teaching, and I was actually teaching in Ohio in 6th grade when I got the call to come interview at Clarion. So, and I've been here ever since. So this was my first job as associate athletic director, and I've never left. So yeah, no, I never thought about it. So, but I'm so thankful that my path led me here, because I love what I do.
Yeah, that shows you'll never know where you're going to be in life.
No, definitely not. You never know, and you never know how you're going to get there, and you never know who's going to help you get there.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, the individuals at Cal really were instrumental in me even having an opportunity for an interview here at Clarion. They were looking for somebody quick, and knew that, made a phone call and said, Wendy would be great. You need to interview her. And I came and met with Mr. Cadis. Yeah. It was a 15-minute, let's just meet for 15 minutes. Hour and a half later, I was still there, and we hit it off. And I literally had moved to Clarion a week later. So you never know. You never do. But yeah, I'm so thankful for it.
Did you feel like the loving of the town right away once you got here? Was it like that 16 years ago?
Yeah, I'm a small town person. My husband is as well, so it felt like home to us when we came. When I interviewed, I came on my own, and then when I was offered the job and took the weekend to think about it, so that my husband, we were just newly married, and I could come over and he could see the town. And we still joke to this day that we drove down to Toby Bridge and it was like, cue the jet skiers, and here comes these jet skiers, because it was August, and then cue the boats, and here comes these, speedboats. And we joke that like it was planned for us to see it that way, but we ate at the Loomis and had a great lunch, and I still remember that visit. But yeah, I mean, we both are from very small towns, me a little bit bigger than this, but him very similar in size, and it felt like the right fit, and it has been ever since. We haven't left.
Do you see, so you have two girls, right?
Yeah,
You love to see them become Golden Eagles?
maybe a little bit. Definitely. I actually just joked with DJ Bevavino. He got my girls they just turned 12 last Friday. And they're twins, by the way, for those of you who don't know that. And he got them Clarion swimming and diving t-shirts. Oh. And I'm like, ooh, maybe future Golden Eagle swimmers. I don't know, because they swim. They love swimming. They're just now getting into volleyball, which makes Coach Jen really happy, because they're probably going to be like 6 feet tall. So she's pretty excited about that. I would love for them to, but there will be no pressure from mom when it comes to that time of choosing whatever college they want. If they choose another school in the PSAC, that might be a little bit of a challenge. Oh. But we'll support them wherever they want to go to. And, if they want to be college athletes, that would be fantastic. But if not, that's okay too. But, they're in the gym a lot. You see them around a lot. They're kind of gym rats at this point. So they're in there a bunch with me anyway when I work in competitions and stuff. So they're around it. They understand it. And for them, I think it's a cool opportunity to grow up surrounded by college athletes. And I think sometimes our college students don't understand the influence that they have on our youth and our community. They look up to them, they just think that they're the coolest thing ever because they're a college student athlete. And so they get to see their struggles. They get to see them compete. They get to see the mental hurdles that they go over. And something that we've started in our family is, with the pandemic, we haven't been able to do it since, but we have teams come over for dinner every once in a while, and we make lasagnas or whatever it is. I think wrestling was the last team we actually had over. And they played 24 with my girls, and, just that interaction with them and having them and welcoming them into our home. And I just think that they have a really cool, unique opportunity to experience college students and see what it's all about. And right. When they were little, they joked that they were going to go to Clarion, and they thought my husband and I were going to move into their residence hall with them. And I said, oh no, we're not doing that. Well, I want to go to Clarion because I want to have lunch with you every day. I said, then that we can do that. That can happen. But you may not want mom and dad so close, but we'll see. That'd be pretty neat if they did.
The wrestlers talked highly of your cookies.
Oh, I tell you what, that was the hardest group to cook for, because I know that they watch their weight so really closely. And I worked with Coach Ferrero, and I'm like, what do we? So we had lots of salad and lasagna and bread, and they made us laugh. I tell you what, that was a fun night. But it's just fun to see the students in our home. They let their guards down. They joke with each other. It's a cool way to see their interactions with each other. Different than what I see when we're in Tippin, right? They're usually with me all business. So it's kind of cool to see them just let loose a little bit, and they had fun. And my girls they're nervous around guys. So like when we had the wrestlers over, I'm like, they're super nice. Like this is, so then when they started playing games with them, they thought that was pretty cool. Good. And they beat some of them in some of the 24 cards. So they were pretty proud of themselves.
Yeah. They need humbled, so that's okay.
Yeah.
Did you did your relationship with your daughters grow over this pandemic? Because I know you're kind of in home a lot more.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, my girls and I both obviously started at home in March because their school went virtual as well. Um, it was a learning curve for all of us for sure, and me trying to manage work, which was and has been super busy since, as well as their schoolwork at the same time. But they handled it beautifully, and it was fun to spend some extra time with them. Um, we started like cooking together. So, we're going to be at home, you're going to learn your way around the kitchen, and they did great with that. We watched a ton of movies. I actually started documenting it all for them, so someday when they have kids or grandkids or whatever, they can talk about the pandemic they lived through and, well, what did you do? And we actually got a puppy a couple of months ago, so here, Coco. I'll show you to everybody. So this is Coco. Say hi to everybody. She's a cutie. So we got her a couple months ago. So that has filled a lot of our time and our heart, because she's fantastic. So, but yeah, I mean, we're hanging in there. We met, like everybody else, we miss travel. We weren't able to go on vacations this year, and I haven't seen my parents since October, I think, and there was a long time frame that we weren't able to see them, and so it's been challenging for sure. Everybody, it's the same struggles, but yeah, we've all adjusted really well to it, and we're doing good. My girls are in school now. They started back in August, and they're still in person, which is great. They missed that interaction with their friends. The social piece of it was so huge for them, and they're doing really well. And I'm still working from home, and occasionally I'm in the office, but the coaches have come to adjust to know they can text me or call me or Zoom me anytime. As long as I don't have a meeting, I'm available to them. And so, yeah, it's been different, but we're getting through it. I'm ready to be back in Tippin and ready to see our student athletes compete.
Me too.
Yeah.
Hopefully I can get back in there and take more pictures soon.
We'll see. I'll see if I can pull some strings for you.
Yeah. But that's all I had for you today. Thank you so much for doing this. It was so awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for asking me. I appreciate it.
Of course. People are going to love to hear from you.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay. See ya. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Ashby. Bye.
Bye.